Hi, all of you. Reverend Mark Abernethy here in the sanctuary at Wapping Community Church for the ninth installment of At the Foot of the Cross. I don't know about all of you, but one of the things that I have appreciated during this time of isolation is the opportunity to be more intentional and to get back in touch with family members, some of whom I haven't spoken to for a short or a long while. That's been one of the gifts of this time when there has been more time to reach out to people around me. We recently had a conversation with a family member, Kristen Hannah and I at our house had a conversation with a family member who lives a fair distance away from us. And he happens to be in a place where there are a number of coronavirus cases. He actually is fairly sure, although he wasn't tested himself, that he had the coronavirus. So we were asking him what that was like for him. Fortunately, he's young and able to withstand all of the symptoms, and he's now feeling much better. But he's fairly convinced he had the coronavirus. So he was talking to us about it, and among the symptoms he experienced was shortness of breath. Of all the things that I have heard in relation to the coronavirus, the symptom of having shortness of breath is maybe the one that is the most disconcerting to me. Not because I've had the coronavirus, but I certainly know what it's like to experience shortness of breath. Whether that's been on an athletic field or whether it's shortness of breath related to a coughing fit or at various different points in my life, I can remember what it's like to not be able to catch my breath. And I know that that's one of the scariest parts of people's stories related to coronavirus, and it's why there's so much anxiety around not enough ventilators to go around and people not getting the breath that they need. It's so important for us to be able to take a deep breath, whether that's during the day or at night, and to be able to catch our breath and to feel and be aware of the regularity of our breathing. So I was reflecting on this family member of mine as he was talking about shortness of breath, and it made me think about a different kind of breath, which was really helpful to me. So I say this to you today not as a doctor, but rather as a preacher. The word for breath in the Hebrew Bible, ruach, actually means breath or wind or spirit. And that Hebrew word, breath, is related to the breath of God, which fills us and gives us life. So I commend to you moments in your day when you take a deep breath. Again, I'm not saying that as a medical professional. I'm saying that to you as a preacher and a fellow person of faith. Take a deep breath, because the breath that you breathe in may be, and probably is, the breath of God which gives you life. So as you think about your breathing, and you certainly won't do this throughout the day, but take a moment or two to think about the breath that you are taking in, the life-giving power, the Spirit of God that moves within all of us. And give thanks for that breath, which is not at all short. It is, in fact, as I say, the life-giving power that God gives to all of us. So think positively about the ruach, or the spirit, or the wind, or the breath of God which stirs and moves in all of us. And make that the breath that sort of carries you through these days, because the Spirit of God, or the breath of God, or the wind of God is in fact at work in the world. And that spirit or that breath is carrying us through this crisis and towards the day when we will all be able to breathe fully, and when we all will be able to take in that life-giving breath of God, and this virus will be behind us. So I wish all of you well during this day. Breathe, and breathe well, the Spirit of God. Blessings.